Hello everybody and welcome back to Out of Body and welcome back to 31 Days of October. Today I'm going to be doing another episode of Haunted Memphis, which means I'm going to be talking about a haunted location here in the city that I live in, Memphis. Today's episode is going to be about the hauntings at the Orpheum Theater. So if you would like to hear more about that, keep watching. So the Orpheum Theater used to be called the Grand Opera House. It was first built in 1890. So the Grand Opera House changed its name due to being bought out by a new company in 1907. They changed their name to the Orpheum. And then in 1923, it actually burned down. But by 1928, it was rebuilt and reopened and is still open today. So when the now Orpheum was built, the idea behind it when they built it was to make it one of the biggest and finest theaters outside of New York City, which it did become that. It actually had the largest stage outside of New York City. So the Orpheum is a big part of Memphis history since it's been around for so long, and it's also located near Beale Street, which is the famous kind of tourist attraction now. And since we were talking about a theater, which is the performing arts, I thought I would wear my band's t-shirt. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm actually in a hard rock kind of metal band, and I think I've mentioned that on this channel before, but some of you may not know that. Anyway, yeah, I just thought I would represent my rock band since I'm talking about something related to the performing arts. Anyway, getting back into this video and getting to the part that you guys really want to hear about, which is the hauntings. So the Orpheum is said to have about 7 different ghosts that wander around the theater. Now, one of those in particular has been seen the most often, and her name is Mary. Now, apparently Mary has been roaming the halls and corridors of this theater for over 80 years. Apparently people had been seeing her early on after it was built. So it's said that she has been haunting the theater since 1921 when she died. Now her death is a little bit of a gray area because nobody really knows exactly how she died. So her death is a little bit of a gray area, but at some point she wandered into the building after she died and now she stays there. And apparently she's very happy there. So she started appearing in the 1920s, but the management of the Orpheum at the time kept it quiet. They didn't want that to become an attraction. And so it was kept quiet for about 50 years. So finally, the management decided to admit that there had been ghost sightings since the theater had been rebuilt after the fire. Now, apparently nobody died in the fire, but that is one speculation, that Mary could possibly have been playing around the building or playing in the building, maybe snuck in and actually died in the fire and ended up staying there afterwards. But again, nobody really knows exactly what happened to her. And according to the people who have seen her, she looks to be 12 years old and she has long brown hair worn in pigtails. She also is wearing either a white dress or some kind of white blouse, maybe even a school uniform. Some people said they saw her wearing some kind of white school uniform with no shoes and black stockings. Which that's kind of interesting because usually, you know, it's not very often that you get reportings of a ghost and it's that detailed, you know, about her hair and about what she's wearing and even about like her feet, because usually from what I know, when people do see an apparition or they do see a ghost, usually you don't see feet. Usually it's just like this floating person, you know, you don't see if they're wearing shoes or whatever. So she's been seen kind of all over the theater, but she tends to stay in this one specific area in the theater, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if there's a meaning behind that or what, but her favorite seat to sit in, or where she's been seen most often, is seat C5 in the mezzanine, which is I think like the lowest balcony in that theater. So Mary has been most frequently seen by performers while they're on stage. So imagine being on stage and looking out to the audience and then seeing a ghost in the back, you know, like that's just crazy. But apparently she's been seen most often by performers while they're on stage, but she's been seen by the organ player, by the maintenance crew, by the management, by just even like the audience, you know, people in the audience have spotted her as well. So it's pretty interesting that she kind of makes herself known to everyone. It's almost like she wants that attention. She's never been known to disrupt a performance, so it's almost like she really enjoys watching each performance, which I think is really cool. But when there's not a performance going on, she's been known to be a little bit mischievous. So apparently she would play pranks on some of the cleaning crew and the work people there. It said that she either at one point or multiple times had actually put the workmen's tools in the toilet, which is kind of funny. And she's also been known to turn the lights on and off and to slam doors as well. Apparently she can be heard laughing throughout the building, which is kind of creepy. They say if people come in there and kind of make fun of her and, you know, provoke her or whatever, that she will retaliate. Not anything really dark, I don't think, just, you know, she's just kind of mischievous. Another thing that she can tend to do is after someone installs a new light bulb in the theater, the next day the person will find it slightly turned loose. So it was in the 1970s that a parapsychology class at the University of Memphis, which was Memphis State back then, this class went to the Orpheum and actually did I guess a Ouija board session. And that's when Mary came through, and that's kind of how everyone found out what her name was and how she died. Apparently in that session is how it came through that she was 12 years old and that she died in 1921 and that she was hit by a streetcar. And apparently she had let the students know during that session that her spirit floated into the theater because she felt it was a happy place. So that's pretty cool. And apparently it was also at that particular seance that the students learned and everyone else learned about the other ghosts that are there. Many people have seen Mary, from performers to ushers to guests and workers. A ton of people have seen her, and apparently most of them say before you see her you will feel kind of a damp cold feeling throughout your body, and then you will see her. So that's kind of freaky. Apparently at one point someone actually saw her and thought that she was a real little girl and started playing hide and seek with her and didn't realize until later that she was not a real person. So that is kind of freaky too. He actually had been playing hide and seek with her and then described her to someone later, I assume, and realized that she was a ghost. So the most vivid sighting of Mary that's been documented is an incident that happened back in April 1979. So there was a group of people that night at the Orpheum sitting there listening to the organ player play, or practice, I guess. The organ player's name was Vincent Astor, and he actually talked a little bit in a YouTube video, and I'll link that down below because he talked a little bit of his first-hand accounts with different ghosts that he's experienced there and different stories that other people have told him. So that's where I got some of my information, was from that video as well, so I will link that so you guys can see that. But on this particular night, every time Astor would play Never Never Land on the organ, apparently the theater became deathly cold, and some members of the group that were there with him started to see this light kind of darting back and forth, starting from the lobby and kind of going towards the back of the seats in the back of the theater. And then some of the people in the group then looked out into the lobby, and when they looked out into the lobby, they actually saw a little girl fitting the description of Mary. A few people got up and tried to follow her. They said they kind of almost felt summoned, like they were in a trance, like they needed to follow her. But upon getting into the lobby, she disappeared. After that, apparently there was some loud rattling in one of the closets, just off the side of the lobby. But then when that small group of people went back into the theater where the organ player was, the rattling stopped. But then she reappeared in the lobby, and they could see her from inside the theater, and apparently she stayed around for about 45 minutes. So that's crazy. It seemed like usually when, you know, you hear talk of someone seeing an apparition or a spirit or a ghost, you know, they'll see that for like a split second, or they'll see it at the corner of their eye, and then when they look, it's gone. You know, it's not like that in this case. Apparently with her, you know, sometimes you can see her and literally, you know, because sometimes the performers would be on stage and see her for the entire performance. So I mean, that's like an hour. So that's crazy. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into a few other ghost sightings that don't have to do with Mary, or we don't think anyway have to do with her. One of them is a ghost that was spotted in one of the upper balconies. Apparently a maintenance worker was working on something up there, and then he ended up all of a sudden feeling like this coldness and feeling this like overwhelming sense of sorrow and sadness. Apparently the spirit that he sensed up there is a young woman named Eleanor. We don't really know very much information about her, just that she is very unhappy and very sad. Not in a malicious way, but just very, very sad, which makes me sad, you know, in instances like that. Like, I wish, you know, someone could, you know, go there and try to help her. Hopefully someday. And on another night, police actually came in the middle of the night to the Orpheum responding to alarms going off, like the security system going off, I guess. And when they got there, they brought their police dogs, and the dogs would not enter the theater. They refused. They actually went up to the entrance of the theater and they just laid down. They wouldn't even go in. So that was pretty eerie, because I mean, animals can definitely sense spirits and things like that a lot easier than we can, and the fact that they wouldn't even go in the building was kind of eerie. So I thought that was interesting. And the last story I'm going to leave you with on this one is, I shouldn't laugh, it's not really funny, but I guess when you picture it, it's kind of funny in hindsight. Apparently at one point there was a homeless man that accidentally got locked in the theater after it had closed. Luckily, the maintenance person was still in the building somewhere, and he actually heard this other man give out a loud scream. And then he heard these footsteps just running downstairs, down all these flights of stairs to the bottom floor, and then bust out the front entrance, which is, the front entrance was locked. So this guy actually just busted through and apparently busted the door off its hinges, which is saying a lot because those doors are not cheap. I mean, they're pretty heavy doors. So, makes you wonder what this guy saw, because he got that scared that he just ran downstairs and busted out. I mean, I wonder if he like broke an arm or something from busting out the doors like that. Like, it just makes you wonder what he saw up there. Maybe he saw Mary, or maybe he saw something else. You know, who knows? Alright guys, so that is the end of this story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give this video a like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I will be doing a ton of videos this month. Every single day a new video will be up. So check back here tomorrow for another video. And you guys have a great night. I will see you next time. Bye.